everybody, welcome back for another video. I wanted to take a little bit of time today to show you how I use my VKS as a less lethal in a self-defense situation and how I feel comfortable doing that around the home. Obviously I don't carry this on the road. This is going to be something that I have at home and I have it ready. And now that I have a sling, I think this is a very good way for me to have it staged and ready for me to be used at any time. And if you haven't seen that video, check out the video of how I installed the sling on the VKS. There's a lot that you can do with this. This is a very capable self-defense launcher. And you know, if I put a 10 round mag in there, this thing looks very intimidating. It looks very realistic, and that's my goal. My goal is to give you a look that makes you think twice before you go any further. And I want it to look as realistic as possible. For me, that's really important. There are a number of builds that you can make of these that maybe don't look quite as realistic. They have things that might even be something that you require special permission, or it's not even allowed on a firearm. Maybe you need a certain length barrel, and with this barrel, maybe it's not long enough. I use a longer barrel because I think that looks more realistic. It looks like a rifle. It's more intimidating. If you come in with a short barrel build with a front foregrip and you're coming in, I see that. I think this is probably not real. It's probably a paintball marker. If I was a criminal, I might be more willing to take that chance and challenge you if that's what you presented with. And it's not that these are not capable, and not that they can't stop someone who wants to take that chance, but the reality is, at the end of the day, we do not want to fire a shot. My philosophy is the best defense, the best case result legally, in every way possible, is that you intimidate, you bring this up, even you have it like this, but if you have to pull it up, you pull it up. But at the end of the day, you don't want to pull the trigger, and that's the bottom line. If you're defending your home, I understand that you might feel motivated that you want to just start firing and asking questions later, but that's really not the way that you should approach it. You should be rational, and you still have to be very accountable for every shot that you fire, and you can't just go firing at someone just because it's a less lethal. It doesn't give you any more right to fire at them. I think you have to just weigh these options. Now, I want to go with a build that's intimidating, but I also want to have a backup. So if I have this and I go in and they see me and then they pull out a firearm, I immediately drop it. I'm not going to take them on with this. That's why I have my sidearm. So here I have a duty belt, and I have my pistol, and I have 9mm, and there I'm ready to draw, and I can be ready if I need to defend myself with lethal force. And I have a light on there as well, and I have a holster that will accommodate the light. And I don't know if you can see that. So this is the duty belt up close. You can see I've got the firearm in there. This is one of those 1-inch duty belts. It took me a while to figure out what was the best way to do a holster. There's a lot of holsters online, not many for Glocks that include space for optic or light. And it turns out that this one that I had purchased over a year ago, had a holster that was on a vest, and I took it off and I put it on here, and it is absolutely perfect. It fits really well, and this is really snug. I mean, it fits it like a glove, and it's not something that you would carry outside. It's not for anything other than you have it in your home. You take it out, you snap it around your waist. You don't even need to go through any loops. This literally fits me perfectly just around my waist over a shirt, and then this is ready to go. Takes me only a few seconds to snap it on, and then only a few seconds to throw the VKS over my shoulder, and I'm ready to go. So that's the setup up close. This is a holster that comes with the belt, and it actually fits really well with a full-size Glock 17. Really tight. There's no wobble at all. It actually fits perfectly, so I couldn't be happier with that. So as long as I have time to put on my duty belt, get my pistol, I can then take on the situation. The primary situation that I want to deal with, if someone is coming into my property and I'm concerned, I would like to have both options. So it's not an either or. I don't want to have to choose. Ideal situation is I have this on strapped on me. I still have both hands free. I can have a flashlight if it's nighttime, because you want to do your searching with a separate flashlight. You do not want to be using the light on your weapon for searching around your property, because you're essentially brandishing a weapon and pointing it at people. You want a separate flashlight. You may want some other things on you, but you have your hands free and you're not really threatening until you see something. But if it's daytime and I have this thing in this ready position, and I see that this is a non-lethal threat, then I know I'm covered. I know I'm good, I'm ready, and I can handle the situation if I need to. Most likely they're gonna see me, they're gonna run. No one is gonna wanna take this on or take the chance that this is not real. It's just not gonna happen. But if that person pulls out a pistol of any sort, this immediately, hands-free, I'm done with it, and I'm drawing, and I'm ready to go. This does not have a safety. This thing would be loaded, slide would be racked, this thing would be ready to go. And so that's, right now it's completely empty, and I always try to make sure to show that on camera, but that's basically what we have right there. So, and then that's your backup, and that's what I would use if I had to. And I think that's more than capable. This is essentially a duty belt and the type of weapon that a police officer would be carrying. In the absence, they wouldn't have this, but they would have this on their belt as well as other things that they would carry. But I would feel very comfortable in that situation, and that's really my scenario for home defense, is less lethal first, and I think that's going to cover me for 90+% of any situations that might happen. Most of the time, you're not even going to need that, and hopefully this is sufficient to eliminate the chances of even having to fire a shot. But worst case scenario, worst comes to worst, I have a backup, and I think that for me is my option. Now, I understand that not everyone will have that lethal option backup, but you should probably have another option as your backup, whether it be a TCP or Byrna or whatever you prefer as a sidearm, because these things can fail. You can have an air leak. You can have the fact that you maybe have maintained it and lubed it well. A lot of little things can happen that could cause you to lose air or power. So there's a lot to consider with these. That's why having a backup is really important. Whether it's a backup launcher or it's a lethal force, you need to have that backup. So I hope that's helpful for you. I think you have to consider your primary and your secondary. And I think you have to consider, if you are incorporating less lethal, let's say you only have a firearm at home and you want to, and you use that for every situation. And from my experience, even just showing your presence that you're actually physically at home is enough to get them to leave. But if this is all you have, I would suggest you consider getting something like the VKS. Maybe you don't want to invest in something like the VKS to that extent. Maybe you want to get something like the M17 or the Byrna TCR, and those are all various options that you can have. The reason why I like this, and I really suggest this as an option for people who are just new to this, is because right out of the box, everything's stock. You just need to go in and change that O-ring, but you need to do lubing anyway, and so you need to know how to open it up and do that. But replacing that O-ring is very easy. And then it's a matter of just tuning it up and you're ready to go. There's nothing fancy to do. If you buy an M17, you've got to get a 1100 PSI tank. You've got to do a lot of mods to the PRV. You got to do a lot of things, new barrel. You got to put lots of money into it. So it may start out relatively cheap, but you still, once you put a couple $100s into it, you've already made a significant investment. And so unfortunately, these are actually too expensive at the moment. The price has gone up to levels that I did not pay, and I probably would not pay the current prices. So that is a consideration. It is just, these are not priced for civilians currently. They're priced for organizations. They're priced for military and police organizations and departments. I really think they are not catering to the civilian market as they should at this point. And there's a lot of us owners of these VKSs out there. And if Pepperball's listening, I would suggest that you listen to your civilian base and try to accommodate them, and not just hand over leftovers that you have that are extra supply and then they make it to your website and they're available, because that seems to be the case. When you produce too many of this or that, then they actually become available for civilians. But I don't think that really sends a very good message to your consumer base for future purchases. So I think you need to, pay more attention to your consumers and try to cater to them, because that's a big market if you want to take advantage of it. And I would suggest don't neglect those who have already bought these and have invested and bought into the less lethal philosophy and like the Pepperball brand. You have a good product, so try to support it a little bit better. As I had in my other video where I was trying to choose between TCP or a firearm, well, here I can have the VKS and a firearm, and I can have both covered, and I feel very comfortable with that logic. The TCPs I use for other things. I wouldn't try to carry it around with me in this particular situation, but maybe I'll have another video where I talk about how I use the TCP. So anyway, I hope that's helpful for you. Just a few thoughts about defending around your home using less lethals. And that's my VKS strategy and why the sling has become very important for me as an extra tool and a piece that gives me the complete setup now that I need. So everybody take care. We'll see you in the next one.
It's okay. I want to hold her. Come. She's not on food.